Welcome back. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner, Bender Zone, Rovi, and Mscribe. And today we got several updates in the Ordinal ecosystem.
Yeah, dude. Ordinal Takeover Friday edition came a little early this week.
Yeah, several days early.
Yeah. Typically, we like to recap the happenings in the Ordinal space, or really just in the Bitcoin like builder ecosystem that's been emerging ever since Ordinals hit the scene, right? Because you still have other things going on like atomicals.
Yeah.
And then you got Pipe, which is still like an inscription-based protocol, but it's kind of like creating its own ecosystem around the same tenants and such.
By our Lord Benny.
Correct. And then you got, of course, SRCs, ORCs. There's a lot going on Bitcoin, right? But specifically something that is Ordinals native that kind of like was really what pulled us in to begin with has kind of like hit like its biggest milestone yet.
Yeah, good old Ordi Token has made it onto Binance.
Yeah, and if you don't know what the Ordi Token is, it is the first BRC20 token that was ever deployed by Domo himself.
That's right.
If you don't know who Domo is, that is the inception lord of fungible tokens on Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of like story about that. We made a ton of videos in the past whenever BRC20s first hit the market.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
We caught that market around 20 million market cap, roughly.
Yeah.
Collectively. That includes Ordi Token and like a slew of others.
Right.
And within weeks, it ballooned to over $1 billion valuation and then quickly collapsed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, and so Bitcoin Ordinals Protocol token Ordi gets a 50% boost thanks to the Binance listing. So what does this mean, really? Binance is the biggest market mover in crypto.
Yeah, I mean, it's ever since it swallowed FTX, literally.
Yeah.
It sent Sam Bankman-Fried to the prison yard for the rest of his life.
Dunked on him hard.
Just off of one single tweet from CZ. He's like, hey, man, I'm selling all your dumping your tokens because I think there's something sus about your organization. So they kind of like cut the other like 20 to 30% of the market off.
Right.
Binance, for sure, without a doubt, is like the dominant force, especially in the altcoin space, right?
Yeah, so them, I guess, supporting Ordinals and BRC20 indicates that there's going to be a large basis of support for
it gives
mania.
Yeah, I mean, it gives pretty much full market exposure, right, to these new tokens, this new class of digital assets. So it is a big deal. Historically, Binance has launched like a lot of very critical like narrative movements in Web3's history, right? Like Axie Infinity came to be because of Binance and its launch pad and such, and then that kind of like kickstarted the whole Web3 gaming sector.
Yeah.
Matic and Polygon.
Yeah, that's right.
That kind of like kickstarted the whole layer 2 ecosystem on Ethereum.
That was a super early launch pad token.
It was an IEO. I remember those days. So
it's like the second one on there.
Yeah, it really was. So a lot goes through Binance, in other words. So this is like just one of those huge like Web3 like validations, I guess.
Yeah.
That, like, whatever it is we've been building it's worthy of like Binance's, support.
So then you could predict that the next token that they support would probably be Sats, right?
I would think so. I mean, isn't it like a higher market cap?
It is a higher
Ordi.
Yeah. So I'm checking that out on ordspace.org. I don't know how accurate this is. It's as accurate as we can find it.
Yeah, there's definitely like some indexer inconsistencies between these different like, like market cap metric. Whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, just to kind of like paint the picture here, we have Sats with a market cap of 305 million, Ordi 226 million. So this alone is a 500 million market cap, right? But up here, BRC20 market cap altogether is 363 billion.
Yeah,
or
so
million.
There's a little bit of like an interface issue here, but nonetheless, like, I mean, the Sats tokens is like verifiably has been just going absolutely bonkers over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And that's for a lot of reasons.
I mean,
like,
this is more than bonkers, dude. 300 million?
Is. Yeah, I mean, don't forget, like a month or so ago, this thing minted out, and it was freely mintable.
Free mint, yeah. It was about $1.80
for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And yeah, back then, like, nobody really knew why this had any value at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as we've experienced already in Web3, tokens don't always necessarily need like clear utility from the get.
Correct.
A la meme tokens and such. But this one's already starting to see like some adoption.
Mm-hmm. Alex Labs.
I mean, Unisat,
Yeah,
Unisat.
sorry, Unisat. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, Unisat, like adopting Sats tokens as basically like their internal like gas unit for their swaps. It's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
We've seen Bitmap founders like Bitmap Valley officially declaring like it's going to become like a main component of their digital economy space.
Yep, agreed.
We have our own thoughts on how to utilize Sats in our future endeavors. So, I mean, Sats has a lot of promise, you know?
And why is that?
Yeah.
Because of the holder base.
Oh, look at that. It's gotten bigger, dude.
Yeah, 38,000.
It was 36,000 not too long ago.
Yeah.
So this thing keeps growing.
Yeah. So that holder base, that's the main reason why anybody would support a token. But, you know, part of that is the actual tokenomics of it. It's like 1 unit of a SAT is basically 1 Satoshi.
Yeah.
And so you have 2.1 quadrillion of these things.
Yeah, I guess the narrative of Sats was enough to galvanize this much, I guess, like community and interest around it, right? Because the fact that there's 1-to-1 for how many Satoshis actually exist.
Right.
And yeah, the fair distribution mechanism behind it. I mean, it's everything we love about BRC20s and Ordinals and
Bitmap.
You know, and Bitmap and Bitcoin, everything.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a hit, dude. This is probably BRC20's like killer launch, I would say.
Yeah. In other news, Fidelity shares this article called "What Are Bitcoin Ordinals?"
Who's Fidelity? First of all, that sounds like the most boomer of like.
Yeah.
I've seen their commercials. So they manage, you know, everyone's retirement accounts, right?
That's right. Fidelity handles everybody's retirement account.
Okay.
So, so why the hell are they talking about Bitcoin Ordinals?
In context of that, why do they care?
Well, so ultimately they describe what Ordinals is, and I took a look at the article, and they did a really good job. Like it's very accurate.
Okay.
And so basically just explain Ordinals, and at the very end, of course, there's a disclaimer is like, don't go all in.
Sounds familiar.
And make sure that you have a diversified portfolio.
Wow, that's boomer. I called it.
Imagine having Ordinals as part of your portfolio as a boomer, though.
I mean, they're barely getting to the point where they could like tell people to even put Bitcoin in their portfolio.
That's a good point.
Barely.
Yeah.
But in breadth of that, yeah, it's like now that we got you guys all buying, you know, incorporating Bitcoin to your like ETFs and such.
It's like you should take a look at Ordinals.
Yeah, these little tokens that, you know, are being built on Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah, why not? Why if I was investing my hard-earned retirement funds on Bitcoin, I would want to know like what's going on Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about the noise Ordinals had to make in order for Fidelity to like describe what it is.
And I think these institutions had to do their like added due diligence to get, you know, these
maybe so.
These ETF like products like ready for their consumer, you know, their customers or clients
for like a risk assessment.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're going to be supporting Bitcoin as for our ETF, but what are the risks with supporting Bitcoin? It's like, well, we have this thing called Ordinals where you could put any picture on the blockchain.
Yeah, risks or rewards. It's like, you know, yeah, you have to disclose or at least have the potential to disclose anything of risk to your client base, right? Yeah. They need to know what they're investing in. So yeah, Bitcoin, it's a lot more than just like what meets the surface narrative of just, this is just a nice little digital vehicle to park your wealth into. Yeah. There's a lot more happening, right?
That's true. I mean, what if in a wild scenario, Ordinals gets so crazy that the federal, you know, the Fed comes in, it's like we need to remove all ETFs because pictures or because, you know, anything happening, you know, that's on chain that they don't like.
Yeah, or like they're gonna have to explain like, you know, like the Ordinals ecosystem gets so big, we're already seeing like the fee environment increase. Yeah. Their customers, their clients are gonna wonder like, why is it costing like so much all of a sudden? Like, why are these fees adjusting? You guys are like raking from us. They're gonna have to explain what's causing this increase in fees. It's not us. Fidelity's not taking your money. It's the Bitcoin network. It's those damn miners, dude.
Yeah.
And why are those miners they're charging us more to like move your funds around? It's because of these damn pictures, these honkers out there, these goosenals, these Bitcoin frogs, you know. Yeah. Bitcoin it's interesting now. So I mean, you guys trust us, right? We're Fidelity, so just relax.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Just give us your money. We'll handle it.
We'll handle it, dude. Don't worry about it.
All right. And last but not least, finally, the day is here, dude. Bitmap has surpassed Sandbox as the most held metaverse asset in Web3.
All right. Let's go, dude. We've been waiting for that one for a while.
All right. So this has been a long time coming in. When we did our very first video on Ordinals back in June, we thought that this would happen. Or maybe not our very first video, but, you know.
I mean, our first video on Bitmap.
Bitmap, yeah.
Yeah. And let's, for clarity's sake, like this really is like an Ordinals celebration. That's why, you know, BRC20s hitting milestones.
Yeah.
Bitmap is part of that Ordinal family. Right. For those of you guys who, you know, don't see it that way. Yeah. Bitmap's achievements are Ordinal achievements as well, right? So we're incorporating this major milestone is like, dude, this is a big deal because whenever just like Fidelity has to do their due diligence to understand what's going on in the Ordinal space to like relay this data and information to their client base, like all the big tech companies in the world, whenever they're evaluating the metaverse landscape in Web3, they're going to have to, at some point, you know, identify what is Bitmap and all this stuff because, I mean, Sandbox is for sure on all their radars.
Yeah, for sure.
They're going to, eventually this news is going to hit their desks. It's like, hey, something on Bitcoin has just surpassed them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a big deal for all kinds of reasons, and I don't know. I wanted to do some sort of like metaverse state of the metaverse address.
Like if you were president of the metaverse, what would you say right now?
Yeah, it's like it's one huge milestone to get to this point, but there are much bigger fish to fry, right? And it's like market caps is one thing, but I think getting developers onto Bitmap is going to be one of the most important metrics to track here.
I see.
Yeah, because once we get the developers building on Bitmap, just like IMSO Chris, we got Foxy, we got Inscribe.space, we have Inspector,
ourselves.
Yeah.
And others, Bitmap.community. There's a lot of devs out there cooking up some.
Yeah, and this 24,000 user base is very important for developers because if they're going to spend any time on anything, they need to be confident that they're going to go into an ecosystem with liquidity, with a user base, with activity, interest, excitement. All these things are important for developers. And if you meet all those requirements, developers will come in and they'll make stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and in this case, it's actually it's needed more than ever before. Right, because in a lot of cases, metaverse ecosystems they're brought about by, centralized organizations, companies, whatever.
Yeah,
right.
And I think that's the biggest deal about Bitmap is that it's not centrally owned. Right, there isn't a single unit to kind of like depend on or take down. Right, it's all up to us.
Yeah,
and I think that is what the metaverse should probably be.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Otherwise, we should all just start building on Roblox, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Why not? Dude, there's 65 million daily active users over there. Why are we over here with 24,000 holders?
Yeah. Why would we ever try to feasibly compete against something that has captured this much, of the mainstream, I guess, zeitgeist or whatever?
Yeah.
It's kind of like why build anything in a competition with anything in Web2 or Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
We don't need a decentralized Twitter. Censorship's fine.
Yeah.
Let's just live with it. It works. We're already all there, right?
Yeah.
We don't need a monetary system that's not dependent on, governments.
Right.
It works. We all do jobs and we get money and we buy things.
We don't need the internet. We had mail.
Right. So yeah, I mean, there's a reason why these there's clear distinguishing, I guess, ideals behind what it is that Web3 represents and the metaverse versions of that, right?
Yeah.
Roblox, I guess there needs to be a counterpart to that.
Yeah,
in the event these types of centralized organizations they overstep their bounds in harm of their user base, right?
Yeah, I mean there's going to be people out there with statements such as there's this metaverse with hundreds of thousands of landholders and all that. But if you go look at those metaverses, they have all these rules. You can't do this with your land. There's no SDK, so you can't build on top of your land. You can use our builder, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these limitations, and Web3 is not about limitations. It's about freedom. You can do anything that you want on that land, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the clear distinguishing point between something like Bitmap and something like a Web 2 based metaverse.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important. I mean, this number, like in the grand scheme of things, may not seem large when you look at what else is happening in the Web 2 space, for example, but this is very large because of what it represents and the potential it has.
Yeah, to me, like the main takeaway or like something that makes me the most excited about Bitmap is when I see 24,000 owners, I feel like there's a lot more potential in this ownership base. Meaning, like, there's that much more, like, many more attempts at creating something that is like a Roblox-esque ecosystem, right?
Yeah, because who's to say what a metaverse should be, right? Mm-hmm. Why should Decentraland decide, right? Sandbox, why should they decide what it should be?
Yeah, they just create their own versions of their own, like their own stack.
Everyone has their own image of what the metaverse should be, and now we have 24,000 chances for everyone to showcase what they think the metaverse should be, and the invisible hand, as it comes,
the market
will decide.
The market gets to decide which of these like interpretations or these offerings, as far as like tools, technologies, whatever. Which of these are the most impactful, the most valuable to me, and whatever it is I want to build as an ecosystem designer or whatever.
Yeah,
and that is the potential each Bitmap owner has.
Yeah,
you're all basically like world creators potentially.
Yeah, it's
of course not every single one's going to be activated and become like a fully deployed virtual environment.
Yeah, economic bustling.
Just like exactly. Just like not every website that's ever been like submitted through HostGator.com or whatever has become a like Facebook or whatever.
Google.
Yeah, not all of them, but some of them do.
Right.
And that's the potential here. We're all going to rely on Sandbox, which is just one interpretation, one initiative to try and achieve that type of like.
Yeah, I think we've made this kind of outline before, where cryptocurrency was the first time that anyone can create their own money, right? Before crypto, before Satoshi, you'd have to be a government to make your own money.
Yeah.
Right? So now we have Bitmap. This is the first time where anyone can really have a stab at creating their own metaverse.
Which is really what, at the end of the day? Money is like a unit of, I guess, value.
Mm-hmm.
What are you actually doing? I mean, I guess you're creating like space, right?
Yeah. Yeah, virtual space.
Yeah, I mean, just space in general. Yeah, in the virtual sense, which is a very, I think, underappreciated like ability, right? I don't know. It's hard for people to understand the value in that at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like 30 years from now, do you think we're just going to be spending the next 30 years in these like 2D web interfaces? Like, does that make sense? It's like probably not.
Yeah.
Meta's betting not. Apple's obviously betting not.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where things are going. And that's why like Fidelity and these huge institutions are predicting multi-trillion-dollar ecosystems in the virtual environment.
Yeah, and in my mind, I think one of the killer realizations is going to be in the future. I don't know how many cycles it's going to take, but at some point we're all going to realize everything we've been doing in Web3, I think it all conglomerates and leads to the metaverse. In my mind, maybe I have a bias here. I don't know. I feel like all these different like sectors of Web3 innovation, they're all just individual components that when put together, they lead to like the primitives of the next, which is Web3 is actually the metaverse. Like that is the next experience of human interfacing like digitally, right?
Yeah.
And all these Web3 like DeFi, like just cryptocurrency itself, all these things lend so much more utility in the digital space than in the physical realm, right?
Yeah.
And I think
cryptocurrency is a bank that is just an app, right? Mm-hmm. And if Web3 is the basis of cryptocurrency, then what we're talking about here is a digital country where anyone on the planet can access.
Exactly. Yeah, all these things like NFTs and like the culture around PFPs and all that stuff, all that is digital identity.
Yeah.
Right? And all that is applicable to this metaverse space. Like right now, it's not completely obvious why like all of Web3 is just, it's specifically designed for like, a rich metaverse ecosystem overall.
Well, yeah, in my opinion, the metaverse, if you put a clear definition, it has to include a digital ownership.
Yeah.
If there's a metaverse out there without digital ownership, I don't qualify that as a metaverse.
I think ultimately you're going to be proven right. And again, that bitmap comes at like the perfect inflection point because we already have so many different like Web3 tools and primitives that have been that are like at our disposal basically. Now it's like let's leverage them and like let's extract the max amount of utility with them and like let's create like real human economic value.
Yeah.
Through bitmaps. Like that is like the ultimate end goal. If I were to have my own like president of the metaverse moment, that's what I would say. Like let's make the world economy great again or something like that. I don't know, like in the virtual world, right?
Right.
That's the opportunity we have. But yeah, that's a pretty bold declaration, right? And it's going to take a lot of effort from a lot of different people.
Yeah, this is definitely not a walk in the park to actually get this thing set up and have like an economy, right? We're talking about something very complex.
Yeah, agreed. But nonetheless, again, so here we are celebrating this one of many future milestone achievements.
How does it feel to be right, dude?
We're not right yet. I don't think we're right yet. I don't know what it is we're gonna need to see for me to be like this is home run, like set in stone. I guess I don't know, like Bitmap 1 billion market cap, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next metric we're chasing now is like if we're targeting Decentraland Sandbox, these like Web3.
Yeah, like $1 billion market cap.
Titans of the metaverse, yeah, $1 billion market cap.
Yeah, but the market cap right now for Decentraland and Sandbox, it's in the around $1 billion, but it's a fungible token market cap.
Correct.
Right, their land is more like 100 million, something like that.
But as we've seen with these bitmaps, like it feels like they have like fungible.
Right.
Fungibility to them, even though they're not. They're non-fungible units.
It's a hybrid token.
Feels like a hybrid token. So I still think we can have like similar market valuations.
Probably so.
With them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, the invisible hand will decide all of this. So it's a good day for Ordinals. Good week for Ordinals. I mean, more exposure to what's happening on this Bitcoin space. That I feel like we could definitively say we were right about. Like, pivoting our whole like focus because if you don't know anything about us, we've been paying attention to Web3 for 4 years now,
right?
And we try to look at everything, but like around the February-March time frame, we just only been focused on this Bitcoin space. And I feel like it's going to be one of our better decisions.
Yeah, and we're not the only ones. Ordinals wallet came from BSV.
Yeah,
we have On-Chain Monkeys. We just interviewed Danny Yang, and he came from Ethereum, and he's now focused on Ordinals.
Oh yeah, he's teleburning his entire collection over, and I have a feeling he's going to kind of like break down a huge like wall, and like with that is going to come like a rush of Ethereum projects onto this Ordinal space because he's built so much technology to kind of like enable this to happen, and he's basically blueprinting like the
step-by-step process.
Yeah, how to do that.
Yeah, how to do it.
It's going to be interesting, dude. So I'm looking forward to it. To the next Ordinals milestone, I guess.
Yeah, our goal is really to get Bitmap to 1 million holders, right? And that's going to happen through parcelization. There's going to be incentives to parcelize, creating communities off of your Bitmap, things like that. So that's, to me, the ultimate goal. Once you get 1 million holders, now we're talking. Now where it's like uncharted territory in an extreme sort of way.
Yeah, there's a lot of components to that. The parcelization, unlocking the tech stacks that are usable.
Yeah.
And that introduce more functional, robust, applications into this whole ecosystem. So there's a lot. And this is why we're going to continue to dabble and contribute as much as we can.
Yeah,
to make this happen, right?
So the Bitmap takeover is going to continue. We got other
things to take over.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for us. If you have any questions, any thoughts, let us know in the comment section below. Make sure you follow us on all our Twitter accounts. There's a lot of them. And thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.